The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
There's something celebratory about Bubbles. Our ridiculous selection of champagne and sparkling wines will make the holidays pop.
Who couldn't use a friendly wine elf? I can help you find the perfect bottle at just the right price.
Deep frying a turkey this year? A rich and earthy Chateau Neuf de Pop would make an interesting pairing.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you. This holiday, now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers!
This is Russo-Souhan After Dark.
Yeah, I know.
Literally after
weird.
dark. We
Like
never do
30
this.
degrees out.
We never do. It's cold out. It's dark. We're doing a nighttime show. Have you been drinking?
No, I haven't, but I'm about to choke.
Yeah, you.
Excuse me.
If you had been drinking, would you tell me? Would you
Yeah,
admit it?
I would definitely tell
You
you. I
really
have
would?
not been drinking. I swear, I'm drinking water.
That could be vodka.
Yeah, it could be. No. I did do a little glass blowing, which might be why you think that I'm drunk. There is a guy named Cody Glass in the NHL. Actually in the minors, Ryan Malone beat the crap out of the other night.
I knew you'd have a hockey. I could make a really
seen Ryan
off-color,
Malone's,
terrible joke, and you
have
just
you
come up with a hockey story.
Have you seen Ryan Malone's fights in the AHL?
I have not.
He is destroying people. There's this poor kid the other day messed with Luke Cunnin with Ryan Malone somehow taking the draw, which is not normally his job. Not good for the kid. Yeah. It was unbelievable. What this guy, like, he just started throwing lefts at this kid, and it was just like, oh, you could just tell right away the guy made a mistake. But no, so my friend, I think I've told you this. He's starting up a glass blowing kind of business in Golden Valley where he's going to give classes. He's got a whole staff, so he's really starting this thing up. It's awesome. And so I he wanted some guinea pigs. So I'm like, hey, Mark Parrish, come on down. So Parrish and I and Parrish's little 7-year-old Turner, he didn't play with the glass. He just played with David's kids. We went down to David's business tonight, David and Marnie, his wife, and they showed us how to. I made a pendant for my mother. She's gonna be so happy.
Hi, Barbara.
Yeah, she's gonna be so happy. I played with a lot of fire tonight, Jim.
I'm sure that's safe. I'm sure you would never screw up and just melt your own face off.
It is so
or anything.
hot. Have you ever blown glass?
No. Okay, maybe we've both been drinking. Gotta be.
Can we start over?
No, we can't. This is classic.
You've never blown glass?
This is
Well,
classic.
then you gotta
This
go
is
down.
classic Russo awkwardness. This is what we do the show for.
You've got to go down to this place.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
People
more.
are going to really think that this is like that I'm obliterated, but I have not had one thing to drink. I just went down for some reason.
And you drove over here, so I trust that you're not drunk.
Chris Miller
You're just goofy.
sent me a funny tweet tonight. He said, "I don't even know you anymore," because this is not. There was one point as I was holding kind of two glass things, making a pendant, and I was like, I got to tell you, I never thought I'd live 43 years and then start blowing glass. It's like the first time that I've ever done something like this. It's like it's probably the most.
Note to Brandon, our producer: make sure you chop this up in really interesting ways.
Yeah, It's like, honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, remember I told you when I chopped wood that first time, it was kind of like an epiphany.
Is that another euphemism?
Yeah. That one time I changed the light bulb in my house.
Yes, I remember that.
So excited about that.
Yes.
That was kind of what I was doing today.
You're what we call an outdoorsman.
Yeah, I know. It's like, wow, this is something I didn't know that, I'm not an artist. I know that's going to shock you. So I'm sitting there, not to shock everybody out there, but Parise did a better job than I did.
Yeah, that is
at the
so unusual.
His pendants. He made 2. I went 1.
This is the Russo-Souhan Show, part of the Minnesota Sports Podcast
Can
Network.
we really start over?
You can find no. You can find all the shows at mnspn.com or the Mix Sports Radio Facebook page. We are building the mixsportsradio.com and a web app. If you want to become one of our newest sponsors, you can reach out to Scott Yell, SCOTTYELLE at gmail.com. We are going to start distributing the show across the state through Greater Minnesota Digital Sales. You'll be seeing our ads for our product, our network all over the state now, and of course our advertisers will be benefiting from that as well. Our advertisers currently are Twill in the Edina Galleria, Fixology Repair, 3rd floor of Mall of America, and Crown Bank, crown-bank.com, who apparently got stiffed by Adrian Peterson. See that story?
No.
He stiffed him on like an $800,000 loan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
It's not good. So let's get to some actual hockey. Believe it or not, we're going to talk hockey. So 2 games. Do you read anything into it? Do you have any reaction to what you've seen the first 2 games?
Well, they're not very good. The game in Carolina was a little alarming. They looked like they were playing a game of shinny, like summer hockey, like back and forth, the beauty league, no structure, not trying to win battles, everybody circling. It was just really just awful. And I'm glad I was tweeting about that when they were up 3-1 because they blew the game, and justifiably so. You could see it happening. Yeah. There is no way that you could play the way they did the other night and win that game. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, especially against Carolina. Mm-hmm. Carolina is going to be pretty decent this year. They got some great, Noah Hannafin, Slavin, Sebastian Aho is a heck of a player. Victor Rask, the guy that scored the go-ahead goal. Mm-hmm. These are really, really good players, and they're going to be good players. They're building the right way in Carolina. And I've thought that they were going to be one of the more improved teams in the league this year. I don't know if they've got enough to make the playoffs in that division, but you can't play that way against a team with that type of skill, especially with defensemen that jump up in the play. The mindless. I watched the game the other day again just to watch it, and everybody was culpable with the amount of turnovers. It was unbelievable the things that were being done by everybody on the ice, and normally reliable guys. So what you hope is that it was game 2. And what maybe is good, at least, the theory is that with all this practice the last couple of days and next week, that they should get better. But they were always with as short a amount of games that they play at the start of the season. They were always, even if they say started 2-2-1 or 3-2, which could still happen theoretically. They were always going to kind of dig themselves a little bit of a cosmetic hole just based on that fact that they've played so fewer games than so many other people. But man, now you look at them on the bottom there with only 1 point in 2 games, and it just looks a little scary when you see the amount of teams that they are going to eventually have to climb here if they don't keep on get themselves out of this. And I will say, their cap situation is a mess right now. The fact that they are can't call up a forward unless they send Riley down is just not a good situation. And so unless something changes tomorrow that I'm not envisioning right now in my head, they're going to go into Chicago and play with 7D and 11 forwards because they have to. And you saw what they looked like the other day when they had a bunch of makeshift lines. It's like everybody thought they could play makeshift hockey, and that doesn't work.
The good thing is if they go and they play lousy against Chicago, they can always trade for Hansel and everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Ryan White.
Yeah. I will go big picture here.
You sure we shouldn't start over?
No, I'm very happy with you embarrassing yourself. I'm always good.
Can we edit out the snort?
Oh hell no. That's actually we're gonna amplify that. We're gonna make that the lead-in sound.
I don't think anybody needs to hear that.
You remind me of my French bulldog, actually.
Yeah.
So since the Hansel trade, this has not been a good team.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hansel's just ruined the chemistry.
But seriously, since they were one of the best teams in the league, they make that trade. They kind of limp into the playoffs. They have a terrible playoffs, and now they've had terrible first 2 games, even though they stole a point.
Well, the Detroit game was definitely emblematic of last year. I mean, to outplay an opponent the way they did, and still wind up at the end of the night not being satisfied. That obviously, really resembles the St. Louis series. But I mean, this is a new team. What you hope for is that they can all get it together here, but they're starting off, and I've said all summer long that they got very lucky last year with injuries and with their cap situation, and now they're going in, and you got Parise less than 100%. Even if he could find a way to somehow play Thursday, which I think would be foolish, doesn't make sense to me that you keep him back here to not risk anything, and all of a sudden, if they try to rush him in against Chicago, I think that'd be a mistake. But we'll see. But now you got Granlund out, allegedly a short-term injury. Now he's going to miss the next 4 games, which 4 games in their schedule's like
it's a long
2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
which says that he's obviously got some sort of significant groin thing. And so, it's obviously it's a big concern. But again, it's 2 games. You don't want to overreact as much as it just leaves this negativity. And the fact that they're not playing a lot of games now, it just kind of lets you stew on this for a while. And what you hope is that instead of stewing it internally, that they're trying to fix some things. But I've got to think that Bruce is concerned. I think he was concerned going into this season, just that he thought that last year that there was going to be an incredible excitement going into that season to begin with, just with the new coach and everything like that. And what concerned him is that you don't have that now, that kind of motivation of impressing a new coach, coupled with the fact of the letdown of what happened in the playoffs and in this conference. You just can't take your foot off the gas. And I mean, we're seeing with Chicago already. They're not a team. Everybody thought they were going to just die. Well, maybe not everybody, but but clearly still a ton of talent on that team.
Yes. I have another question about Parise. Thanks to Scott Dayton, who runs Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com, Twill on Instagram to see all their beautiful clothing, much of which I have been buying and sampling and wearing around myself. My wife loves the place, so check out twillmn.com or drop in and say hello to Scott Dayton.
Hi, I'm Stacy Souhan. I love Twill, Scott Dayton's shop in the Edina Galleria. Twill takes the stress out of shopping by offering updated traditional fashion. I know that if Jim goes in there shopping alone, I will like what he buys, whether it's pajamas, flannel shirts, or suits. I plan to recommend Twill to my daughter when she has to buy wedding party gifts and attire. Twill in the Edina Galleria will bring your fashion game to a championship level.
So Parise's now trying to say that it's not a back.
It's a back.
It's a back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the root cause of it is something else, pelvic. I don't know, but even after he said it wasn't a back, sources that would know just kind of laughed at it. So
right.
I just think that he doesn't want that kind of narrative out in the public because of what happened a couple of years ago, and he's so aware of things that are said and everything like that. And
hi, Zach.
It's a tough situation. Right? I mean, the guy wants to be 100% here, and he cannot be after the year that he had last year to feel like he had such a great summer and then to get hurt. I'm sure the mental hula hoops going on in his brain right now is not fun, and so I do feel for the guy. I mean, this is not, regardless of the cynicism out there and stuff like that about his contract and how many years left and blah blah blah. The Wild need Zach Parise,
yes,
and the fact that he is now going into the season with this whatever injury has got to be freaking him out as much as the organization. So I don't blame him at all for standing in front of the media the other day and refusing to disclose exactly what's wrong with him.
Do they miss?
Remember, he also wants to make sure that he's not attacked on the ice in situations.
Right.
So
no,
he doesn't it doesn't help anybody for opponents to be, regardless if he is a back or not. It doesn't help him if now opponents are going to be cross-checking his back to try to.
No, I agree completely. He has to protect himself, and if we have questioned certain things about Zach's game or approach, we've never questioned his desire. No. You going to nod? We're on a podcast. You're going to nod.
I was.
You're distracted, aren't you?
I was distracted by somebody walking across the street.
You know what? We're going to have to start doing. I was
making sure
shows.
That the person wasn't breaking into my car.
We're going to have to start doing the shows.
Not used to these after dark stories.
That's a good point.
Podcasts.
I'm not used to talking to you when you're drunk. We are going to have to start doing the shows from like a rubber room with no windows, I think. Just keep you from getting distracted. Maybe take away all your metal objects when you come in, your shoelaces, your belt. Just make sure everything's safe.
I was already stressed out when I got here because I tried to take some decaf coffee and it was cold and almost out. So,
do they miss Scandella?
Well, Brodeen and Dumba's got to be better. I'll say that. And if they're not, that's going to be a major issue to begin with. But, Riley and Quincy don't give you that same kind of element, I think, kind of that thoroughbred type thing. Obviously, Olofsson didn't play hardly at all the other night in Carolina. And where they missed Scandella is that Olofsson had a bad camp. Mm-hmm. And to the point that obviously in a situation the other night, they didn't even want to play him. And so right now they miss him, but I'm not even positive. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not even positive if Scandella's debuted for Buffalo. I know he missed a ton of camp stemming from his hip surgery this offseason too.
Right.
So he might have. I don't even know.
You mentioned Boudreau going into the season not feeling maybe 100% confident. Where's his head right now?
Well, I don't think he's happy the way he was. I mean, him in Carolina, everything I tweeted, he said after the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was, you don't have to be a hockey fan to realize that was absolutely unacceptable the way the Wild played. So the fact that was his lasting impression now for 4 days, I'm sure he's not in the greatest moods. He's trying to impress upon them that there's a certain way that you play in games, and 3-1 the way they were, to continue to play that stupidly, for lack of a better term, or maybe a perfect term, it's not acceptable. And so in practice all week this week, he has sat there. And when I say all week, it's really Monday and Tuesday so far, and then Wednesday, obviously, before they go to Chicago. But, I mean, his thing is game-like situations, 5-on-5. Yesterday in practice, it was fascinating. I haven't heard, maybe it's just because the arena was silent and I was able to hear it, but he was screaming situations of games, down by a goal, extra, situations, times of games, to get them to play the right way in certain situations, not to just play mindlessly. And, a lot of times early in the season, it is sloppy, all teams. But, bad habits creep in the preseason a lot, especially when you're a veteran-laden team. I mean, you saw it. Guys like Mikko, Suter didn't even want to play in the preseason. He played 2 games. Stahl, these guys, their whole thing is do not touch me. Get me out of the preseason healthy. And what happens is when you're peeling off checks and you're throwing pucks up the ice, I mean, you're creating bad habits that all of a sudden you're playing in a real game against an opponent that really wants to beat you, that's no longer minor league-ish. Because that's the other bad thing about preseasons is that you get, even the Wild's last preseason game against Dallas, I mean, here's the last preseason game, and Hitchcock didn't even bring his stars. There is never a time in the preseason where you're getting kind of emblematic lineup versus emblematic lineup. So, there are nights you're just playing minor leaguers or you're playing a bunch of minor leaguers. And so, to me, the preseason is just a waste of time to begin with. I don't...
It is in so many sports.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, I guess you got to play them. But, man, if it's
just a money grab.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's just a way to get a few extra bucks. And I understand it, but it's not good for the game and really in any sport. I guess baseball is the only one. Baseball might have the only preseason that's actually worth something because you're getting Northerners who get to come down and sit in the sun and watch baseball, and they don't really care about the quality of the game, and it takes a long time to get pitchers ready for a season.
Yeah.
The other sports, they're better playing something like the Beauty League than they are actually doing preseason.
Yeah.
Let's go to some Twitter questions. Do want to thank Fixology Repair. Fixologyrepair.com. Fixology Repair, 3rd floor of the Mall of America, up by Nordstrom's. Michael frequents the place. I've been by as well. John Hedges is known for his counterside manner. Let's say that.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at Mall of America. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
And thanks to John for sponsoring the shows and being a friend of the program for so long. We do appreciate it. Again, if you'd like to sponsor the program or work with us in any way, you can reach Scott Yell, SCOTTYELLE, at gmail.com. Let's see. Let's get a good Twitter question to start here. Nick MacArthur is worried that Crown Bank won't be able to sponsor us anymore because of Adrian Peterson. That's on-point commentary right there. Let's see. Russo Slacks says, I hope you can appreciate. That doesn't make any sense. We won't do that.
Shocker.
I'm probably going in the wrong. I probably should have started at the other end. From
Like at
Aaron
4:30 when
Williams.
we at 4:30 when the original tweet went out.
Yeah. From Aaron Williams, with Dubnyk struggling, is Backstrom an option? I'm sure your mom has his number. Also, what have you bought with the Athletic Minnesota money?
Cigars. I bought some cigars. That's about it. I was, that person that made the joke about the wooden watch on the
Yes.
on Twitter the other day. I was
Yes.
on Instagram the other day, and they have like wooden laptops. And I was kind of. Then all of a sudden I woke up.
How many have you bought?
And then all of a sudden I'm like, that I really should not look at this ad anymore. I feel like I did buy something stupid.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, you're wearing the same watch, so that hasn't changed.
No, I'm happy with the watch. I don't know.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
From Skylar Vatius.
Sure, we shouldn't start over.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to have to spend another half an hour with you, Michael. So we're not going to start over. From Skylar Vatius, Wild win first or the Golden Knights lose first?
I don't know, but by the time we put this podcast out, we'll see what happens. Let me see what the score is.
Okay.
Because that's true. I mean, it's going to be hard for the Wild to win Thursday. That's a good question, Skylar. Let me see.
You stumped Russo. You win.
The best thing is I'm cheating to see the score of the Golden Knights game. Oh, it hasn't started.
From Davis Bailey, do you think the sloppy play and loose structure is a result of it being the first couple of games, impact of Scott Stevens leaving, or something else?
Or maybe all of the above.
Yeah.
Justin Bourne from theathletic.com is actually looking at that Carolina game and kind of breaking it down in video. And we were talking the other day, and, part of it also could be that, Parise was gone for 5 days of camp, so that's 5 practices that he wasn't at, 2 games he didn't coach. So there's a lot of things in here. You have a kind of a lineup that's in shambles based on Granlund and Parise being hurt. You have the early seasons. You have a new defensive coach. You have Bruce kind of missing in camp. But again, it's, heck, I mean, they could have easily had won that game, right? And so, and they could have easily won the Detroit game. So again, that's the deal here in hockey is they could easily be 2-0, but they're not. And so now it's a matter of just figuring out a way. They sometimes, especially in the regular season, certainly not in the playoffs, play very well in Chicago. So maybe they can figure out a way to get a victory there and come back with confidence to play Columbus. Columbus is playing on the second of the back-to-back when the Wild play them. So we'll see.
And that's the thing. I'm not alarmed that they got 1 point so far.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they look like they're not playing structured defense. They're not playing the way you expect them to play.
Well, I thought again, against Detroit, they played very, very well. And it's just unfortunate the way that game transpired, where you just, again, you just know, I think there were some bad coaching moves in that game. I do not like this Coyle at the point BS. It's enough, okay? Come on. Especially for a team that doesn't have a lot of right shot forwards. Put the righty down low on the 5-on-3.
That's my pet peeve watching hockey is when you got like a left shot guy on the left wing. It makes no sense.
I get it. Mikko's got to bury that puck, okay? Mm-hmm. And by the way, what's really coincidental is if you look at the replay of his tying goal in Carolina, he actually, if you think of it, he didn't put it right in front of him. He again went far post.
Right.
Kind of okay. So but again, you have a lefty on that side, and the way that his blade is basically curved there. It was a tough position for him to be in, but he's got to bury the puck. Mm-hmm. But again, that's a position where on most 5-on-3s, you got a righty just slam dunking cross crease passes. So if it's not Coyle, okay, then even put Dumba down low. I just don't get the 3 lefties down low on a 5-on-3. I don't like it. And so I think there were some, tough coaching moves in that game, but you just knew that when they didn't score on their 5-on-3, then all of a sudden you give a 5-on-3, that just bad news was going to happen. And by the way, I don't want to make excuses of them, but both those calls were horse bleep.
The goalie interference calls?
No, the goalie interference. I'm not. The goalie interference calls were actually arguably the right calls.
Yeah.
What I didn't like is that the 2 calls that put them down 5-on-3. If you look at the Winnick one actually on replay, he absolutely misses Zetterberg. Zetterberg just blows a tire. And on the Dumba cross check, I mean, come on. I mean, it was just ridiculous. It was just. I've never seen a cross-check where you hit somebody kind of with a cross-check motion, and then there's a pause, and then the guy goes flying into the boards. I mean, his initial push on the back, he didn't even move the guy. So, I mean, that's just where referees have to be better too, but it's early in the season for them as well.
The always reliable Aaron Berger with the next question. Do want to thank Crown Bank, crown-bank.com. Locations in Edina and Minneapolis, a Minnesota company that is the place to do business.
Your banking relationship should match your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle is to live well, you want Crown Bank. You want a bank and a banker who will give you what you want and what you need without a hassle. Crown Bank is responsive. From ordering checks to making you a loan, they build a relationship with you that will help you get what you want so that you can live well. Crown Bank. It's a lifestyle choice and the place to do business. Member FDIC.
Okay, from Aaron Berger, Coyle has looked lost at times. Any specific reason for it? I'm assuming the system hasn't changed much for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it certainly hasn't. It's just... what did we say last podcast? If every game was a preseason game, he'd be like a 50-goal scorer. I mean, he still goes through this. I thought against Carolina offensively he was tremendous, but again, like we saw in the playoffs, he misses a clear gimme, and then he doesn't come back with his guy, and boom, it's a new game when Hannafin scores. I mean, he's just got to be better. It's that simple. It's time for all these guys. Nino's been absolutely invisible, and really didn't have a great training camp, at least in the exhibition games. Thought he was really good in the first exhibition game, and I didn't think he was great in any of the others. And now you got Granny hurt. So it's, Zucker, Dumba, Brodin, Coyle, Nino, they need them now. It's again, I know cosmetically the standings are going to be BS because they play 4 games in the first 16 days, but they need to get some points here just to, again, kind of chill the air out, because you don't want to be chasing. You just don't want to.
No, agreed. From Mike Swanger, good question here. With the cap situation, which Iowa players making less than the threshold will be brought up, and will they be more than just a warm body?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, we're talking about like Zach Mitchell and people like that. It just doesn't get you going. But do me a favor, actually return to that. I'm going to go on I just wrote a story a couple weeks ago about who they can bring up. I just kind of want to refresh my memory of the guys making 7. Actually, I'm just going to
the question again from Mike Swanger. With the cap situation, which Iowa players are making less than that threshold number could be brought up and would be more than just a warm.
And just so people, if you haven't read my story because you haven't subscribed to The Athletic, which is just horrendous of you, if you haven't don't know what Mike is just talking about, is I wrote a story the other day. It's a real complicated thing, but if the Wild get to a point where they have to play shorthanded one player, one game, they're allowed to, after one game of playing short, it would mean that they could call up a player making $750 or less and not have a count at the cap. And those players that make $750 or less, fans are just going to be excited by this, are Pat Cannone, forwards, Zach Mitchell, Pavel Jenis, Chase Lang, Landon Ferraro, Cal O'Reilly, Kyle Rao, who's hurt, and Curtis Gabriel, and I think that is it. Adam Gelmore, who I accidentally called today, and I was trying to call somebody else. Dante Salatero. So it's kind of answering Mike's questions.
I think I'm getting the picture.
Everybody else, so the guys that would actually might be Excite fans, Birchie, Annis, Cluse, Lucia, Cunnin, can't be called up in such a scenario the way that I understand the rule. So of those guys, you have Zach Mitchell, who we obviously know by now, Landon Ferraro and Cal O'Reilly that are the best ones. Kyle Rao is injured. I don't know how seriously. So
a follow-up question from John Santelman with 11-64 out. At what point do the Wild play down a man and invoke the CBA rule, allowing a $750,000 player?
Well, you can't. This isn't a choice. They have to be in a situation where they are down a man. You can't just play. You can't just decide, hey, today's the night. Mm-hmm. If they did that, they probably would have done that in Carolina. Not played Olsen, but right. you have to play the guys that are on your on your roster. They would look at that as circumventing if all of a sudden.
Right.
Let's put it this way: if all of a sudden going to Chicago, if they just sent Riley to the minors because they can without waivers and played Olsen and down a man because of that, I think the league would be like, no, not kosher. I hate to say it, but they've got to get another, is that Parise's got to be out, Granlund's got to be out, and they've got to get another injury or illness for that to be down a man. And if they're playing against Chicago without Parise, Granlund, and somebody else because they're mysteriously hurt or sick, they're going to get probably waxed. So this is not something that you right now want to do, but you're right. I mean, if Parise the hope is that Parise can come back here in the next little bit and replace Granny. And you can, maybe they are thinking, I'll go to practice Wednesday and we'll see. I mean, maybe they are thinking play Parise in Chicago, ease him in on the fourth line and power play, not put him in bad positions, but, that's easier said than done. I don't think you could ease your way if you're not 100%. You're going to get hit. And hit more than the contact he's taking in practice. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. From non-GAAP, setting a record for this question. Well, after only 2 games, he's asking, does Fletcher survive if the Wild miss the playoffs?
I mean, come on.
I just asked it to annoy you. Yeah. From name can't be blank, do you see Olofsson on the trade block if he can't draw into the lineup?
Well, again, you need D, and right now they can't take on salary, so I don't know what trading Olofsson does for you. They're the ones that gave him and Riley the one-ways, so.
Zach Brown asked some Parise questions. The Wild need to prep the rosters if Parise will be in and out. Could Cunnin play a similar role as him? And are the Wild monitoring Hossa to see how they handle Parise's future?
Well, again, these questions are based on them saying Hossa, Parise, you're not playing anymore. You're quote unquote hurt.
Right.
You got a rash, and now you're not playing anymore. I mean, it's so far down the road, hypothetical. It makes no sense. And frankly, this loophole, if you want to call it that, that's probably definitely lack for a better term. In the next CBA in 3 years, the Wild might be screwed again. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's no point in even talking about that. And, again, Cunnin to me is a non-factor. They can't afford him right now. There's no way after they sign Winnick that you can have him on the team unless you're sending Eriksson Ek down. To me, Cunnin's down there.
Mm-hmm. Couple more questions from Mike.
Or it gets to the point that Parise or Granlund's bad enough that you're using long-term injury to create some cap space. So.
Couple more questions from Michael. From MJ, a longtime listener. How is the new Detroit arena? In past years, you would have had Bloodstrip cover the game at the Joe. Thanks for the articles on Nick S., Spurge, and Ennis. She knows what she's talking about.
Nice.
I'm not sure if MJ's male or female. I apologize if I messed up. The.
I think it's female.
I think she's. Yeah, I think MJ is female.
So, and by the way, just a couple. On what she was talking about on some of those stories, we'll talk about that in a second. The Detroit arena was fabulous.
Good.
Press box was cool. Arena is just gorgeous. The arena. They're kind of redoing this whole part of Detroit, like 50 blocks of kind of revitalizing the area, which is not hard to do in Detroit. Just a thing of paint could revitalize Detroit. But this arena is just, they've kind of built it like the outside looks like an office building, essentially. And it's like the arena is in a mall, and the concourses have a clear roof. So it's like you get this natural light in there. And so a lot of, one thing I will say that I think is going to be a little bit of an issue that maybe they didn't think about or didn't care based on revenue is that they have all these kind of like walk-in bars in the arena because it's actual outside restaurants. And so I think a lot of the empty seats that you saw during the game were the fans checking out the new arena for the first time and going to all these different places. Right. And so what it does is it creates this look like the fans aren't there when that place.
It's like Yankee Stadium behind home plate.
Well, it's like you see that in Toronto a lot when you come back from a period. It's a bunch of empty seats. Plus, a lot of these arenas in the inner part of the arena now, you have the high-end club areas, kind of like Target Field's Champions Club. So you have just a lot of things to do if you're a fan now that kind of give the impression that the fans aren't there, but they were there that night. What I was going to say is, and thank you for the compliment on some of the articles I've written. At The Athletic, right just this week, I had obviously the Spurgeon Ennis story. This week I had talked to Henry and Linda Stahl about raising the four Stahl boys and how the heck they pulled that off. That's on there. Ran that, I think, on Friday or Saturday of last week, if you want to check that out. Today I did a really, kind of special story where I talked to Evan Zucker. Unbelievable story. Everybody at this point, I think, knows that Jason Zucker, who grew up in Las Vegas, is lifelong friends with Nick and Anthony Raboni. Nick was shot, 28 years old, life saved by his brother Anthony. Well, Anthony and Jason are the same age, grew up, played together forever. Everybody, I think, at this point knows, if you've read me, that Jason Zucker was like a star roller hockey player growing up and always played up on these travel roller hockey teams. So he played with Nick and Anthony, playing up in these things. Nick Raboni, who was the guy that was shot, that did survive, plays in Wednesday and Sunday night adult leagues with Adam Zucker and Evan Zucker, Jason's two older brothers. He's got also a younger brother and a younger sister. But the most unbelievable story is, so on October 1st at night, Evan Zucker and his wife Amanda are scheduled to have their labor induced for their first child.
Wow.
They get a call from Spring Valley Hospital Medical Center. It says, we're on lockdown, you can't come. So they rescheduled them to come at 10 a.m. the next morning. At 8 a.m. that morning, Natalie Zucker, the mom of the whole Zucker clan, texts them that Nick was shot in the chest. Jeez. And so now they got that, 2 hours before the labor, then they find out that a friend was involved and is in the hospital in emergency surgery. And you got Jason here at practice. And, 40 hours of labor, by the way, later, little Ethan Zucker was born. Wow. Healthy baby. And Evan Zucker said that he was glad that that everything was kind of slowed down because he doesn't want his son having the same birthday as the day that this massacre took place.
That's a great thought.
And then just one other story that I'm working on that'll run, I think, next Wednesday is today you might remember this story. I went to have coffee with a guy named Alex Freecon. Alex is the guy that did like the Cake Eater Dinah video, and he's done the beer anthem and things like that. A guy that I've met like 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and for another story or something. I can't remember how I met him, but he went to North Korea to play hockey in March. And so I've been fascinated by this ever since he did this documentary, and we never wrote about it when I was at the Strib. So I sat down with Alex today and talked to him about his whole experience of going to North Korea. I mean, it's just, it's an amazing story. He told nobody but 2 friends of his that he was going. Didn't tell anybody in his family, his closest friends, nobody. Just got on a plane and flew to North Korea to play hockey. It's just nuts. And was there for 7 days. And it's just it's fascinating, seeing we all have this vision of what North Korea is like, and just hearing from somebody that's actually been there. It's the only person I know that's ever been to North Korea.
Yeah, I don't know anybody. What was the Sid line? Sid was I think Sid was talking about a baseball player, and he was saying, they might have sent him back to North Korea. Well, Sid, he's a South Korean. You can't get somebody from North Korea. I messed up the story, but it was a typical Sid story. How do people subscribe to The Athletic?
TheAthletic.com/MN is the website. I think, and there are flash sales every now and then as well. So you can wait. But if you go to my Twitter bio, Russo Hockey, on there as a subscription link. And I just think that people that haven't subscribed, you're going to miss so much that's going on with the Wild. I hate to say it like this, but I feel like I still cover the team is better than anybody in town, and so I just and definitely have really cool stories to tell, and I just think and the amount of stories I've got in the works right now, and I just think it's a great place to read about the team. In addition to reading Jim at the Strib, by the way, I'm not telling you to cancel your subscription.
Well, no, I mean, people can afford both.
Yeah,
you can afford both. And you know what? If you go to Starbucks, if you go to bars, if you drink beer, you can afford a newspaper subscription and an athletic subscription. It's not that it's cheaper than almost everything else you spend money on.
Yes.
Let's end it with that awkwardness.
I always feel. Uncomfortable telling people how to spend their money because, you don't.
And I'm not telling somebody to subscribe.
And I do. There are so many people that tweet me, Jim, that are like, I'm sorry, I cannot spend $40 right now, and I like it. It does pain me to the point that one person that did this the other day, I made sure to get a subscription. I just said, send me your email address and a password, and I'll get it for you.
You heard it here first, Michael Russo.
But I can't do that for everybody. But
subscriptions.
Yeah, I can't.
Just make him feel guilty. You can have whatever you want.
I did make sure that my credit card number wouldn't be because it's somebody I didn't know. I'm like, just my credit card number is gonna show up on the account. But
once again, Michael Russo giving out his credit card number to anybody who makes him feel guilty. Take a shot. Barbara, now's your chance.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
The custom of bumping glasses with the cheers came from old Rome. When in Rome, cheers!
A pork crown roast with cranberry stuffing deserves a ripe, fruit-forward Cabernet from Paso Robles. Let me help you find the perfect bottle.
Looking for the right wine for a meaningful gift? Consider me your wine concierge.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you. This holiday, now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers!
From the kids to Aunt Sue, keep your whole family connected on all their devices with crowd-pleasing gig-speed internet from Xfinity. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit today. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed.